All right, Dusty, I see your first chat of the day. What's up with the 1970s adult? That's called the music I'm allowed to play on here. That was called chill hop. So I switched it to hip hop. I'm hoping that works for you, Dust. Move this camera a little bit, okay? I hope that's okay for you, Dusty. So we got good amount of stuff to talk about today. What's up, Canes? Good afternoon. Dusty beat you today, Canes. Dusty beat you. What's up, Canes? Dusty. So today, guys, we're going to talk about, do some player breakdowns. So I got a video coming out later today on YouTube. You know, I talked about Drew Burress a little bit yesterday in a video about his approach and his ability to make adjustments and how that really made him the elite player he is, not only because he's physically very talented, but also just he made adjustments faster than most freshmen end up making those adjustments. Dusty can attest to that. Most freshmen take, a couple weeks, especially as hitters, when you're getting pitched a certain way. The idea is that, oh, well, yeah, they pitched me that way last weekend, but they're gonna throw me a bunch of fastballs this coming weekend, and they just refuse to make the adjustment quickly. And Drew Burress, it was like next at bat he made the adjustment that he needed to make. And my whole thing last year was, the first 10, 12 games, he was crushing, out of conference competition, kind of the lower tier D1 schools, and that's always kind of the warm up for the ACC, and how a lot of guys will do really well those first 3 or 4 weekends, and then all of a sudden ACC conference play starts and they kind of get humbled. And he was just really able to make great adjustments. And so we're going to talk about some of that. We'll go into some video breakdown that I'll do in the video later today, but also we'll get into some of that today. 3 hours till first pitch at the captain's first practice. We are very excited today. Nice, man. Are you going to the practice, Canes? The Drew Burress one was great. Thanks, Canes. Can we get one on Justin LeBron, Henry Ford, Nolan Smart? Yeah, that's the plan, Canes, is I'm gonna start doing a lot more of those, especially now that we're getting close to the season, is highlight some of the best players in college baseball. And obviously with freshmen it's difficult because there's no film on them except from high school, and that really doesn't matter. But certainly the best sophomores and juniors in the country. I'll probably focus more on hitters, and then may collaborate with some of our Pat Pinkman, stuff like that for the pitching stuff and kind of what he sees on guys. Just so you guys get like an in-depth breakdown on some of these players and what makes them so great. The Drew Burress one today is going to be really good because you're going to see how his swing looks. You've seen me talk about Teacher Man and some of these other hitting guys, and we're going to cover some more of the hitting guys too. But you watch Drew Burress's swing versus what Teacher Man teaches, and it's almost the exact opposite, right? So again, you guys have heard me say Teacher Man, it may work for a very small percentage of guys, and also guys that have really steep swings, but other guys who don't have that issue could just be creating worse habits. Canes, yes, a lot of our fans will be attending. Interested to see how we look without the coaches. Official practice is Monday. So what is it exactly then? If the first official practice is Monday, then what is going on today? Explain that to me, Canes. We're going to look at some breakdowns as well from the top 25 from D1, so some of their breakdowns on teams. We'll look at Georgia. We'll look at Tennessee. We'll look at some ACC teams as well. North Carolina, Virginia. Some of those top 10 teams that are expected to be really big time. And we'll look at maybe some of the top 25 impact freshman classes. Oh, okay. Captains are doing their own practice today and tomorrow. Yes, yeah. I should have seen. I thought you were talking about maybe a different team. But yeah, that's awesome. I want to know tomorrow, Canes, what you think of the practice, how it was run by the captains. Miami doing it big time, getting the captains started with the practices. If we are a serious team, we will run a real practice. Yeah, it'll be. I want to know what I don't want to know what you hear or what you see from the practice. So keep me updated with that. Captains practice, Kyle. The captains of the team are running it. I can't even remember, Dusty. Did we do that at Georgia Tech? I mean, we had some really good captains, so we probably could have done it. All right, so let's look at. Let me see here. Pull this up. We're going to look at some of the impact freshman classes coming in this year and what to expect from them. If this will ever load. Okay, so let's go to the top 10 incoming freshman classes and talk about them for a little bit. So let me zoom in on this for you guys so you can read it better. Don't worry about that. So LSU, number 1, no surprise there, right? No surprise that LSU's got the number 1 impact freshman class. Instant impact pitcher, William Schmidt. From the fall report, there's a lot of excitement around Schmidt, who turned down potential first-round money to come to LSU. Schmidt has a fastball ranging from 93 to 98 with an 84-mile-an-hour change and 85-mile-an-hour curve with 3,000 spin rate. All right, big question. Is he going to throw strikes, right? Stuff is great. Stuff plays, but if stuff doesn't play, if it's not in the zone. Derek Curiel, obviously everyone knows this guy's name who follows recruiting in college baseball, was one of the top players in his class, and according to the article from D1 Baseball, came in and established himself as the team's top outfielder and is in a position to start somewhere, hit near the top of the lineup, and prove himself as one of the top freshmen in the country. He batted .388 with a .522 on base percentage this fall. Yeah, I think that's going to play. I think that's going to find his way into the lineup. And then freshman catcher, strong defensively with a big arm. He's also had a big fall at the plate, batting .360 with 6 doubles, and could be too good to sit despite the SEC freshman learning curve. Yeah, and that is, again, the learning curve for most freshmen in the SEC. The good thing is if you're performing in the fall at LSU, you're facing some of the best stuff in the country, every arm you face. So the learning curve shouldn't be too bad. But the one thing advantage you do have is when you're in the fall inter squads, you face the same guy 3 or 4 times as the fall goes on. So you kind of know what you're getting. You know what his stuff looks like. The problem in season is that you're facing new guys every year or every weekend and every game. So you don't have that advantage of, okay, we've seen him before. So you got to be able to make adjustments really fast. But can we really expect much from these guys with so many transfers coming in? Like, how many freshmen are actually going to start for them? Yeah, I mean, that's and we'll look at in the top 25. You'll see in the Georgia article, you'll see what exactly what you're talking about, Canes. It's like really hard for even the best freshmen to play. That's impressive. Wow. Yeah, so like Michael Mullinax at Georgia, he would have been expected in years past. He would have been coming in right away and playing, but he's not going to. All right, he was ranked as number 25 overall prep prospect Tegan Coons. The loose-armed 6'3" righty sat 92-95 against Troy and is another young volunteer arm who has the look of a top-of-the-rotation winner and potential day 1 draft pick. So that's good as a freshman, have that guy come in. Most impressive of all Vols newcomers, and that's saying a lot, was leadoff man Jay Abernathy. And this was a kid who I believe was a shortstop in high school but can really run. And I did a video on him a while ago and basically said watching his actions in the infield, who knows if he's going to be a shortstop at the next level. Most scouts I had talked to saw him as a center fielder. And lo and behold, what are they projecting him playing? Outfield. A Georgia prep and another top 100 prospect for last summer's draft. He's a top-of-the-order player whose speed will apply pressure on opposing defenses. The left-handed hitter covers the plate with ease, and his zone awareness should provide a smooth transition to SEC ball. He's a pure hit machine at the plate and showed it early and often against Western Kentucky, finding a barrel on each at-bat and driving in a pair of runs. Levi Clark, big-time catcher. Another top 100 prospect from Prep Baseball. His impact right-handed bat holds plenty of power thanks to a strong frame, well above average bat speed. Could blossom into a run-producing backstop. He has a plus arm with excellent accuracy, helping him consistently turn in sub 2.0 pop times to second base. But I thought the best guys in like 7th grade were throwing like 1.7s and 1.6s to the plate. Certainly this guy can throw sub 2 pop times. It's amazing what happens when there's a base runner and a pitcher, and you got to do that on the fly. Wake Forest, no surprise, big time arm. Duncan Marston from Southern California, Harvard Westlake. Marston's polished and poised beyond his years, 92, 95. Ready to step immediately into a weekend rotation spot and flourish. That's big praise. Third base job, leader for the third base job. He had been committed to South Carolina until the Gamecocks made a coaching change this summer, at which point the Demon Deacons pounced. He looks ready to step in every day. Don't forget about Chris Livonis. Top arm is righty Chris Livonis, who was shut down this summer and fall while working his way back from a small impingement, but is back throwing bullpens now. He can run his heater up to 98. Walters said the slider is a plus pitch right now. The breaking ball is a plus pitch metrically, but he doesn't know quite how to use it or land it yet. But 3 or 4 bullpens into this, it's a real pitch too, and the fastball is really good ride to it, really good release height. So the question is going to be, can he throw strikes, right? From that comment, not sure how to use it yet. It probably doesn't have a good feel for it. Cade Townsend from Ole Miss. That's a big flip for Wake Forest if he's going to start. Yeah, I doubt he's going to start. Just from reading this, or excuse me, you're talking about this kid. Yeah, that's a massive flip from Duncan Marston. Big flip. Sounds like he's going to start, or at least be the midweek starter. You want to get that guy developed as a starter early if he's got the stuff and that command to do it right away. Ole Miss, big time arm, 93, 95 is, we know, you kind of know what you're getting with the first guy. Excellent power cutter, slow downer curveball with big depth. It's a starter's arsenal, and he has obvious future star potential. Again, guys, the question with all these pitchers is, are they going to be able to throw enough strikes? Can they get ahead of enough hitters to have success? Because in today's game, if you're falling behind a lot, you're just going to get crushed. Owen Pino, shortstop, has all the tools to be a huge star in the SEC with athletic, rangy actions and a plus arm at short, along with a premium left-handed bat. Pino's everything we thought it would be. He's going to be a superstar. He's a first-rounder in 3 years, Coach Mike Bianco said. Not him, the third baseman that flipped after the coaching change at South Carolina. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, the South Carolina, yep, okay. The third baseman. Owen Hancock. High ceiling power righty, 6'5", 198 pounds, had a rough outing in the Pizza Bowl, but he still showed quality stuff with 93, 95 fastball from an over-the-top slot. Tight slider. Bianco said he's been up to 97, 98. All these guys, for some reason, they always throw really hard in the fall, and then their velo's a little bit lower in the spring, but we'll have to wait and see. Stanford, who's not even ranked at the top 25, number 5 incoming freshman class. Pound righty, a 6'3", 212 righty who has the potential to be a weekend starter, no doubt. It's just a matter of time. He's got 3 pitch mix with solid command and could be a two-way player as an outfielder. Okay, so this is the big one here at Stanford. The kid from Japan, Sasaki, went to the same high school as Shohei Ohtani, broke all his records while also setting a ton of national high school records, including 140 career home runs in high school. What the heck? And in order to reach the professional rank sooner, Sasaki decided to skip Japanese pro ball and head to the States. At 6 foot, 250 pounds, he's a legitimate left-handed hitter, hitting fence buster who can hit sake bombs to any part of the field. He's big and strong, Coach David Esker said. He can hit home runs from left to left center to right. He's also a very disciplined hitter. He doesn't just launch home runs after home run after home run, which he could. He takes very smart batting practice. I think the coaches are lying. Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of that way. Dusty, so every team has a 6'5" donkey throwing 95, 98, cap. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know how it is, Dusty. It's like their velo is going to be down in the spring for some reason, or they just don't throw any strikes and they don't really pitch that much. Understatement on instant impact player. Yeah, understatement. Have you heard the fall ball reports about him? Are you talking about Sasaki? No, I mean, I think this kid's supposed to be legit. Right. He was, I mean, he was like the number one prospect for the Japanese Pro League, but he wants to go to the big league, so he's coming over to Stanford. Big, I mean, kind of a risk, right? If you don't pan out over here, it's gonna be tough to get there. But you may be the best freshman hitter in the country, from what people are saying. Charlie Bates, number 2 prospect in the state of California by Prep Baseball. And Esker just loves his confidence. Esker says he and his staff got lucky that he even showed up on campus due to the interest he got from MLB teams for the draft, but he was staunch in his desire to go to Stanford, so it worked out. D1 Baseball is going to be following Sasaki all season long, 100%. Dusty, I think it's a lock for Sasaki to hit the ground running with advanced approach, similar to DR international players usually are way ahead of American-born players. Yeah, and the Japanese guys are just so disciplined, it seems like. They usually have really good approaches, so that plays well or bodes well for Sasaki because he's not just coming in as a bomber, right? He's coming in as a guy with a really advanced approach, and he's got big-time power. He is crushing the baseball right now. He's going to be really good. I think he batted like 360. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. I think Sasaki something like 330, 20, 60. Yeah, I don't think that's an understatement. Virginia, what else is new? They get really good left-handed pitchers. Valencius, the 2-time state player of the year in Tennessee, is polished, athletic, physical at 6'2", 210 pounds. And his entire operation gave me Danny Hultzen vibes. That's high praise to invoke the name of a former UVA great. Probably the best, maybe the toughest pitcher I ever faced, Danny Hultzen. 3/4 arm action that works easy, and his 89-92 fastball jumps on hitters. He also showed outstanding feel for a very good 81-83 slider with sharp tilt and tough angle against Maryland, and he has a promising changeup as well. That's high praise, Danny Hultzen comp. James Nunnally, super live athlete with lightning quick left-handed swing. Nunnally looks like the next great Virginia superstar position player, the next in a long line of first-round caliber hitters to come through this program. He is a really high-level hitter, and he can play anywhere in the outfield or can play second base if you need him to. He's an all-fields hitter, and he gets his swing on. He takes a hack, but his barrel is in the zone so long. He gets out front, and his hands are still back, and he'll fire a single or a double to the backside. Like, he got totally fooled, but he's still able to hit the ball the other way with authority. It's a little bit Ichiro-ish from that standpoint. It's pretty advanced, his ability, and he's not overwhelmed by anything. That's high praise. Don't forget about Aiden Harris, 6'4", 240-pound outfielder, tantalized with huge raw power, giving him a chance to make a difference down the line as his plate approach matures. Plate approach matures, that's red flags. Darren Vaught announced during his first ACC interview that he is going to be traveling to every Stanford game to follow him. He is the ACC guy. Yeah, of course he will be. And now with Stanford in the ACC, that's big time. All right, so Auburn. Good for Auburn after a down year. Chatterton entered Auburn as a college-ready as freshman can be, as is impressive enough to challenge for a weekend spot. There's good energy in the fastball, 93-95, and an old-school curveball, said Coach Butch Thompson. He can land a slider and a changeup. He's the most advanced freshman we have with 4 pitches. Chris Rembert. Rembert was a fall star. The 6', 202-pound from Pensacola started hitting day one in a fall camp and never faltered, finishing the scrimmages with 7 doubles. Rembert will play second or left field just like he did against Florida State, said Thompson. When that bat is going, you better get him in there. Don't forget about Bub Terrell, 6'3", 224. Terrell has a huge future that Thompson hopes is sooner rather than later. Terrell is tooled up, said Thompson. He's got to get better left on left. He has the skills to play right field right now and have really good at-bats against a right-hander. He could start now versus right-handers. He just needs to play. Coach O'Connor going with Hultzen and Ichiro comps in the same blurb. Daddy, chill. Yeah, that's high praise. That's really high praise. TCU, impact pitcher Mason Brassfield, left-handed pitcher, was the MVP of the Fall World Series for the Frogs and showed solid stuff all around. He is an intriguing starting option to consider. Not much info on him there. The third outfield spot is likely to go to super talented freshman Sawyer Strauss-Snyder. A 6'2", 200-pounder had a very good fall from a defensive standpoint and continues to make strides at the plate. From a physical standpoint, he's as good as we have and has some of the best tools I've seen out of a position player since I've been at TCU. He's probably got the best arm I've seen here in a while, and he can hit and hit for power. The challenge for him this fall was just facing more velocity on a more consistent basis, but it's just an overall package you can't really deny. Noah Franco is the MVP of TCU's Fall World Series and has a big-time bat. The question for him is, where does he make the most impact right now, at the plate or on the mound? He also has a big-time arm. Left-handed pitcher with a fastball from 92 to 97 from the left side with good secondary stuff. He swung the bat extremely well during fall workouts. He also has some impressive potential on the mound. He didn't command his stuff quite as well as he wanted to, but it's a loose arm, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it's more of when he's the complete package. He could end up being a guy this season that really helps us at the plate and on the mound. I'm intrigued to see what we decide to do with him. Franco is a good player. He's from IMG. Oh, okay. Seems like he just doesn't know where really it's going off on the mound, but he's going to get a chance to make an impact. Indiana. Thomas is a Fort Wayne native who ranked as the #1 overall player in the state of Indiana, 2024 high school class. In his outing against Louisville, his fastball sat in the low 90s, but the pitch was up to 95 in his high school days, and the extension he gets in his delivery makes it appear even firmer. He'll also show 2 distinct breaking balls, a slider in the high 70s and low 80s, and a curveball in the mid 70s and mid 80s. Hogan Denny, freshman who's making a real run and nudge his way into regular season playing time. Do you know who Franco is? Dusty, I don't know if you're asking me or Canes. He's just one of those IMG tooled out players, and the question is he actually going to be a baseball player? That's the question. All right, Vanderbilt. Hudson Barton, another starter of the future. The 6'3", 199 right-hander looks the part and is a professional 4-pitch repertoire. His fastball has been up to 95 this fall. Barton started game one versus Nevada, but he ran into 3 barrels in just 1 inning of work. That said, his strike throwing stood out, and the raw materials are exciting. The other star in Vandy's lineup is a true freshman that might feel uncomfortable, but there's a precedent for this in the SEC. Ethan Petrie and Dylan Cruz are recent examples of players making an immediate impact in the league. Brody Johnson could be that guy. Johnson turned heads last summer in the Appy League. He competed against college players and stood out. That has continued this fall. The right-handed hitter is country strong and shows outstanding feel for the game. He puts a charge in the baseball, and he's also athletic enough to be the backup shortstop for Vandy. Coach Tim Corden led Johnson off in both games against Nevada, and he could be very disruptive to the top of the lineup. Again, star player alert. And here we go. All right, Canes. Dad is John Franco. Oh, that makes sense. He should maybe have some really good feel then. I don't know him, but I've seen him play through my computer. I'm shocked Miami isn't on this list since we brought in 14 freshmen. What do you notice about reports on all these young arms, Kyle? What is the common theme? Well, I mean, you and I know, Dusty. I mean, these reports of velocity always seem to be a little bit off. It seems like all these guys, when the season comes around, the velocity's not quite, where the velocities are reported to be. They're usually like 2 or 3 down. So if a guy's hitting 98, maybe he's 92, 95 in the season. But here we go. One of my former clients, Matthew Shorey. Shorey started game 2 versus Nevada, and he is an interesting addition to the staff. He surrendered some hard contact in his 1 inning of work, but also showed the ability to miss bats with multiple pitches. Reports are that he's been up to 94 and surrendered very few hits this fall. Shorey attacks from a funky lower slot, and he showed a feel for getting his fastball in on right-handed hitters. His quality sweeper offered a second pitch that could open the door to a starting role at some point. Yeah, and talking to Scott Brown at ABCA, I mean, he's either going to be their midweek starter or he's going to be kind of the bridge guy in close games on the weekend. So the guy that gets you from the starter. If the starter's out in the 4th, Shorey comes in, throws a couple innings, and bridges you to that back-end bullpen. So he's going to have a big role for Vandy this year. We'll likely have 2 or 3 impact freshman bats through the year and 3 or 4 impact freshman arms, I think, for Miami, I'm guessing. Look who it is, Matthew Shorey. Where have I heard his name before? Yep. Shorey up to 94 miles per hour. Yeah, right. I mean, I'll say this. He was definitely, by the time in high school he was done, I know he was consistently like 88 to 92. So up to 94, is it in there? Probably. Is that what he's going to be this spring? Who knows? But there's no question. I mean, when in high school, I mean, he's still got a lot of weight to back on. I mean, he's 6'1", maybe at this point 170. So, I mean, he could easily get up to 185, 190. And, he puts on weight, gets stronger. There's no question he could get up to 94, 95. The comp I did put on him was Virginia's Friday starter for a long time, Kyle. I always forget his last name, but he pitched the big leagues. He got drafted in the first round and went straight to the big leagues. Can't remember his last name. Dusty or Kane's helped me out. Kyle something was the Vandy guy, or the Virginia starting pitcher. All right, so for 11 to 25, Florida State. From the fall report, Miles Bailey, 6'4", 257-pound freshman who reportedly turned down 7 figures to attend FSU. How do you turn down 7 figures? I'll never understand it. He still has freshman moments, but the potential is unquestioned. He slugged 4 home runs during the fall, moved well around the bag at first, and showed some plate discipline. Ideally, Jarrett would like for both Plain and Bailey to bat in the middle of the lineup. Coach Link Jarrett is really excited about the freshman backstop Hunter Carnes, who he labeled the best freshman bat I've had. Carnes, like Bailey, will be draft eligible as a sophomore and hit 5 home runs this fall. Has been better than anticipated defensively. Noah Sheffield has big league bloodlines, Gary Sheffield's son, and is a promising right-handed bat who is developing his defensive skills at second base. He's a dude for sure. Kyle Crockett. That's it, Dusty. That's my comp for Matthew Shorey. Kyle Crockett. 100%. Bailey, big time player. Kyle Crockett. Yeah, that's the Shorey comp. It's Kyle Crockett. Low 90s, elite command with 3 pitches, funky arm slot, going to be really tough on lefties, but he's got the changeup to keep righties honest. That's the comp. The FSU 247 guy tells me he's a real deal player. Yeah, I've heard really good things about Sheffield. Oklahoma State, Ethan Lund opened my eyes for the first time at Prep Baseball Super 60, and again caught me jaw-dropping by playing easy catch at 93-95 during his first inning against Arkansas. He continued at 91-93 in his second inning of work, accumulating 3 strikeouts in 2 innings. Breaking ball is a work in progress, but there's good arm speed and more compact arm path, which are a couple prerequisites for consistent spin and control. True. He also slows his arm just a bit on his changeup, but there's strong feel, and he routinely found the zone, making it an already effective pitch at the college level. Impact freshmen Garrett Shull and Brock Thompson are a pair of highly touted newcomers. Thompson played shortstop all 3 games and will be fun to watch develop over his OSU career, as he possesses now baseball skills to go along with physical projection at an athletic 6'1", 175 frame. But I heard you had to be like 200 pounds as a freshman to play. That's what everyone says. Guess not. With fringe average arm strength and present below average raw power at the plate, Thompson's physical development in the weight room over his college career will be the difference maker. He looks to have everything else for a highly successful career at OSU and the next level. Shull ranked as the 38th best player in prep class in 24. Physically, he's built to hit the ground running for college game at 6'1", 205 pounds. Shull's tools upside are apparent, but the small high school standout appeared to need some seasoning against higher level arms. So not a good sign. East Carolina, bringing in a few infielders and right-handed pitcher. Sean Jenkins, who chose to graduate high school early to enroll at ECU this fall. Okay. Even though he's just a freshman and younger than most freshmen, he has a chance to step in immediately into the Friday starter role. Wow. With All-American first-round upside as his career unfolds, a physical 6'2", 200-pound righty with a bit of funk that adds deception for his over-the-top delivery. Jenkins ran his fastball up to 96 in my look, sitting comfortably at 92-94. His advanced feel to spin a tight downer curve with serious depth, and a short, tight slider at 84-85. He also throws a splitter. Austin Irby, the younger brother of ECU pitcher Michael Irby, showed a knack for putting together competitive at-bats this fall, and his hit tool is his calling card. He's a sweet swinging lefty stick with a quiet approach and power potential. He should see plenty of at-bats at first base or DH. Freshman Braxton Trammell might have the inside track at the third base job as a switch hitter with the power, plate discipline, and good defensive instincts. At 5'10", 218, Trammell is a tank with big, powerful legs, and he shrinks the zone with a deep crouch in the box. He hit in a 3-hole for the purple team in the Fall World Series, a sign of the type of run producer ECU expects him to be. All right, let's see if there's any other. Okay, let's go to Clemson here. Tigers are extremely excited about true freshman third baseman Josh Castellani. 6'4", 215 pounds. Left-handed hitter with huge upside. He had a great fall, going to factor in somewhere, but certainly going to be someone you could put in the future star category. He's got a really, really bright future, Coach Eric Bakich said. There's a few freshmen that you can just kind of tell they seem to be ready to make the jump. He plays really good third base and would be easy to say. He's 6'4", put him at first, but he's very athletic, 6'4", good ball security. I think that's the position he'll play in the future. He certainly looks the part, body and frame. 100% he has a chance to be the Friday guy. He's been on campus for over a year at this point. And early enroll in January. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to enroll early in January as a pitcher, you better be polished. At 6'5", 230 pounds, Wentworth is a physical specimen among the lines of Castellani, and he turned down some opportunities to play quarterback for some smaller Division I football programs in order to play baseball at Clemson. Now that he's focused fully on baseball for the first time, he could really take off. The other key newcomer in rotation is freshman Dane Moeller from Georgia. Seen this guy pitch live, really good, really good. High slot who showed 90-94 that really jumps on hitters in the Alabama scrimmage. He also demonstrated a good feel for a sharp curveball and slider, as well as an effective mid-80s changeup that he could throw against lefties or righties. He looks like a no-brainer future star. The Tigers might choose to ease him into Division I action as the midweek starter, but don't be surprised if he earns a weekend rotation job early in his career. All right, let's go. Louisville. I've been working out and practicing. He's been working out and practicing with the team for basically 2 years. I don't know why more baseball kids don't enroll early. Kyle, what is your opinion of the folks at D1 Baseball? I think they generally do a good job. Most never played the game for what that's worth. Yeah, I think they do a really good job of like their ground game. They see every team. Again, like you said, Dusty, most of them never played, but they've seen, right? You can still be a really good baseball guy and evaluator and never played at a high level. It just means you have to have seen a lot of baseball. And you have to have seen, okay, what does this guy look like? And he ends up being a first rounder. And so based on that, you're able to make some predictions that are correct. I think D1 Baseball does a really good job, albeit not a lot of them ever played at all at a high level. Again, it's not a prerequisite. It is something that if someone did play at a high level, usually their opinion is going to be a little bit more justified. But I think of all the publications, I think D1 Baseball does the best job. Because he basically got to practice with the 24 team, and you get in the weight room 6 to 7 months earlier than all the other freshmen, 100%. Zach, afternoon. What's up, Zach? How you doing, man? Arkansas at 16, super surprising. Yeah. But again, I think, Arkansas may have just gone big in the portal, and they just didn't bring in a big class, but we'll see. Hey, I didn't play past rec league, Dusty Isaacs. Hey, don't out yourself, Canes. Don't out yourself. All right, Tag Davis, son of former big leaguer Ben Davis, was arguably the position player standout of the Indiana exhibition as he tagged 2 solo home runs to the right field in his first 2 at-bats. The first was a laser that came off the bat at 106, traveled 441 feet. The second might have actually been more impressive from the standpoint that the pitch had him out front, but he still had enough strength to yank a towering fly ball over the wall. Those were his 4th and 5th home runs of the fall. I don't want to take it for granted and act like it's easy, but our kids have seen that from Davis. I'd be curious to see when you ask them, you talk to them, they see the talent, they see the potential in there. Coach Dan McDonald said of Davis' fall output. I'm more kind of optimistic and excited that he wants to learn, he wants to grow, he wants to be coached. Jake Brown is a good athlete who might be a two-way player for the Cardinals at some point, but for now his fastest path of playing time is likely on the mound. Brown showed a fastball 90-93 and a breaking ball in the high 70s. Cole Crafton is a physical 6'3", 205-pound left-handed hitter from the Chicagoland area who was also a standout in football in high school. He's strong as it is, but scouts are bullish on his ability to fill out even further as time goes on. He has a smooth swing from the left side with good hands and more than enough raw power to be a threat as soon as he steps on the field. Defensively, his arm strength and speed are assets. The only thing that slowed him down is an ACL tear he suffered on the football field last fall that cost him his senior season at Lincoln Way West. Canes, that's why we were doing this for fun. We don't get paid the big bucks. Yeah. Oregon State, getting Dax Whitney through the draft was huge for this program and pitching staff. The Idaho native, pitchers in Idaho, ranked number 21 on Prep Baseball's ranking of high school players who made it to campus this fall. The 6'5" right-hander sits comfortably in the mid-90s and can go get more than that when he needs it. Whitney showed advanced feel for his off-speed pitches, and the makeup is elite. It's hard to hang on recruits of this caliber, but is glorious when it happens. Adam Height is a prospect to keep an eye on. 6'2", 192-pound freshman is a two-way talent who will focus on the bat this year. His path to immediate bats would likely be in the DH role, but his big power and athleticism offers a wide range of future possibilities. I said it in the video, guys. I mean, you're seeing this a lot with these freshman comments on all these teams. It's like his fastest way to at bats is going to be DH or first base. It's like kids are so focused on hitting now, they don't work on their defense enough and realize the more defensively versatile you are, the more positions you can fill in a lineup. And I said it in the video, like a lot of you guys are just competing for a DH position because all you're focused on is hitting. Right-hander Zach Edwards is an exciting future arm for OSU. Edwards is a two-way player who will focus on the mound for now. His fastball is up to 94 with natural cut. Arizona. We're going to skip this one. All right, Texas. Under new head coach, Schloss-Nagel. Talented freshman. The Longhorns have some highly talented freshmen to watch this spring as well. All three could have high-impact major roles as the spring progresses. Left-hander Dylan Volantis is one of the young arms I saw during my one-day look at the Horns. Volantis is a 6'6", 200-pounder who has a super high release height and who was up to 91, 92 with his fastball this fall. Drew Rarick was the most impressive freshman I saw in my look at UT. Rarick is a strapping 6 foot. I mean, everyone in Texas is like 6'8", who has a hard-nosed approach and who comfortably sat 93, 94, and up to 95 with his fastball. He can reach back and throw harder than that as well. He also showed at least some feel at times for a mid-80s slider. Fastball guy. Classic freshman. Right-hander Jason Flores is another quality arm to watch. Flores is 6'2", 200 pounds, and has been up to 94, 97 with his fastball. Jeez. Command of the zone will likely be the key for him, of course. Schloss-Nagel said Flores reminds him of former A&M reliever Chris Cortez, who once battled iffy command but turned into a premier reliever last season. Volantis has some super unique qualities about him, and he throws strikes, coach said. Rarick is probably our biggest prospect in the class. He throws hard, can throw strikes, and there's nothing he's afraid of. As for Flores, the knock on him out of high school was that he pitched at literally every event. So in the spring, the stuff was down, and he struggled to throw strikes. The upside there is massive, though. There's a lesson, guys. Don't just go throwing at every single showcase that you get invited to. We're literally starting a center fielder freshman this season because he's a Golden Glove type player. Yeah, but that's the outlier, right, Canes? That's not the norm. What's the rhyme reason for you skipping certain teams, Kyle? I'm just trying to get through this list, to be honest. Trying to cover the SEC, ACC teams. Not a big deal. Big dogs only. Yeah, Texas, they just grow differently in Texas. Kentucky is Mr. One Wonder. They have to show more. Mississippi State, a lot of arms. See, one of the things you're also seeing, guys, in these impact freshmen, it's like vast majority of them are arms, right? And that's kind of the trend we've been talking about, is that you're a freshman arm and you've got good velocity and good stuff. You're going to have a shot in college. The hitters, just much harder to be an impact freshman as a hitter because they can just go get portal guys that have shown what they can do. The other newcomer who looks like a potential fit in the starting role is freshman left-hander Charlie Foster, who has opened coach's eyes this fall with his innate feel for pitching and competitiveness. He threw 2 clean innings at UAB, was like 92, 94, touching 95 left-handed. It's a little crossfire, kind of hard to see and hit, Coach Lamona said. It's a good curveball and a good changeup, and there's command for a young kid, something to build off in this day and age of 34-man roster in the portal. If he's not one now, he's a future SEC starter candidate for sure. Likely the Bulldogs feel fortunate to land fellow freshman Duke Stone, another former Georgia commit with serious upside. When Stone went down with Tommy John surgery last fall, he became available again, and Mississippi State pounced. He's back on the mound now, and he looked great in the fall visit to Starkville, cruising through a 1-2-3 inning at 6'6". Right-hander with serious projection left in his frame. Stone worked downhill at 92-95 with sink in my look, mixing in a good slider at 83-84. And Lamona said he has 7 feet of extension in his delivery, making that power sinker play up even more. That's a big piece, Lamona said. He's got starter stuff, just don't know yet if he'll get in front of some older starters. Freshman Dane Burns was originally committed to Mississippi State 2 years ago, but he got hurt as a high school senior and took a gap year. He's healthy again now, and I liked what I saw from him in my fall visit. A lanky 3/4 southpaw. His 92-94 fastball came out easy with good extension, and he showed feel for an 82-83 slider with tight spin around 29 RPM. NC State. The top freshman position player to keep an eye on is outfielder Ty Head. He's a lefty with quality tools across the board. He can handle himself defensively at all 3 outfield spots, and his bat has serious promise as he continues to add strength. The righty Anderson Nance, who was a big-time prospect in North Carolina for a long time, Leads this year's group of freshman arms. He gave up just 2 runs in 11 innings this fall, mixing 90-93 fastball with a promising slider and changeup. He focused on adding more depth and tightening up his breaking ball. If he can make another little jump between now and the spring, he could also be in the mix for midweek starts or middle innings bridge roll on the weekends. Another freshman righty, Aiden Knowles, stands out for his feel to mix 3 pitches, but he needs to add strength and pick up some velocity on the fastball. It's at mostly in the high 80s this fall. He's a strike thrower, and if his stuff ticks up, he could battle for innings. All right, there's Miami Canes. We're getting close to Miami. They're at 25. That's Bush League by UGA. His travel coaches won't be happy with how that was handled, I bet. Cutting a guy because of an injury. Yeah, I mean, if you're kind of iffy on the guy, you know, that's what happens. But seems like he's got pretty good stuff in left-handed. Right, righty, 6'6" righty. It's up to 95. I mean, that's a little bit confusing. But all right, blue chip freshman Henry Zukowski and Max Stamel are big pieces of this program's future, who could also pitch plenty of meaningful innings as freshmen. Both are lower release, high ride fastball guys, giving them appearance of pitching uphill and making their heaters play above the 87-89 velocity they showed in my fall looks. Stamel's operation is reminiscent of Florida ace Jamie Arnold as a loose, projectable 6'3", 190-pounder with excellent deception and elite ride. Coach Chris Pollard pointed out that his changeup is a true TrackMan unicorn with more than 20 inches of horizontal break, and sometimes with negative-induced vertical break, all of which means the pitch fades and sinks and disappears. He also showed me feel for a solid sweeper at 76-78. Stamel struck out 21 in 16 innings this fall. That's really good. Pollard suggested the Devils would have a hard time keeping Max Stamel out of some kind of starting role. So there's yet another candidate for that rotation mix. Zukowski's slot is a bit lower, and his arm swing reminds me of Talon's. His heater really jumps on hitters, and he threw more than 60% strikes this fall with all 3 of his offerings, including a quality sinking changeup and a good sweeper with late bite. Jeff Lugie, a strong candidate for the second base job, is a quick twitch, 6 foot, 185 an athlete with an advanced feel for all fields approach from the left side as well as emerging pop. Pollard said his hit tool garnered top 5 round grades from scouts last spring, and he really found his footing in the second half of the fall when he was one of Duke's hottest hitters. All right, here we go, Canes. Not much to say here. Short paragraph. The biggest battle has been at shortstop between freshman Adrian Arizaga and Brandon DeGotti and UNC Greensboro transfer Jake Ogden. Arizaga, a native of Puerto Rico, was the Reds' 14th round pick this year. He has the highest ceiling of Miami shortstops. The left-handed hitting Michael Torres, according to J.D. Arteaga, is the best defensive center fielder the Hurricanes have had in 20 years since Danny Figueroa left for the pros in 2005. Freshman Michael Fernandez could be another top lefty reliever. He will be special, Arteaga said. He has an unbelievably quick arm, and he should be in the rotation in the future. Canes, you can always cut them after 1 year. Bad luck by UGA, in my opinion. Well, I mean, again, Canes, every program does that, unfortunately. But it could end up biting UGA, right? They're facing that guy in the weekend, and all of a sudden they're like, dang, wish we had this guy. Arizaga was the guy almost cut. That is hilarious. Just goes to show you, right, Kane? Just because you got drafted out of high school and you're considered a really good player doesn't mean you are. So we'll have to wait and see. Okay. So we're going to go into this video of Drew Burress. And I'm going to talk about kind of things I see and the situations he's in. And this will be in my video coming on YouTube, but we're going to cover this a little bit. So we'll go away from the beat. So let's watch his swing though. Gains ground. Nice controlled forward move. Coils around the back leg. Doesn't look like a teacher man guy. All right, so let's get into the game here. Okay. So, hitting in the 2-hole, 1 out. You can see the scoreboard up here. Let me move this QR code over so you can see everything. So let's see how they pitch him. I say this in the video. That's a pitch. I mean, I want Drew Burress swinging at a 1-0 fastball right over the middle of the plate. 1-2. Now he's behind. Change up way off the plate. Good back foot slider, just doesn't even budge on it. He's got a great approach. Let's go back there, hit a little breakup. Then challenges him with a fastball right down the middle and bolts it to dead center. I think it ended up getting caught. Here's another side view of this. Look at this. I mean, look at how loaded he is. He's in that back hip, loaded, ready to swing, and just, I mean, it's just so smooth. Here we go. Let's see here. Dusty has a comment for me. But Kyle, you would never teach Burress swing setup. That is a guy who has so many reps, he is modifying very, very small movements. You would never teach Burress's swing and setup. It depends on the hitter, right? I mean, I don't know what you mean by you would never teach Burress's swing and setup. It's not like he's got some crazy swing and setup. He's got a very elite swing. It's adjustable. That's your goal for any hitter, is to make their swing as adjustable as possible. But I will say this: you never want to replicate someone else's swing, because your body's going to move differently. You have different issues with flexibility and tightness in your body that are going to prohibit you from swinging the exact same way that Mike Trout does or Shohei Ohtani does. And that's what a lot of hitting coaches do wrong. They try to replicate a guy with another player, and it's just never going to work out the same unless they have the identical exact, motor preferences that hitter has. So I mean, you can teach, you can try to get it to look like Drew Burress, but you want the same swing functionality. You want to have a controlled forward move. I'm saying that you can't teach that necessarily. No, I mean, what you can't teach is his approach. You certainly can't teach his exact swing. I mean, everyone's swing's gonna be different, but you want to coach and develop a guy's swing to have the same functionality, meaning he's adjustable, he's got a controlled forward move, he can buy time on his front side, he's not sitting on his back leg, so he has no direction and no length in his swing. You'll see that Burress not only does he get on plane deep, he's got great depth, but he's got great length, and he can adjust to hit fastballs up, breaking balls down. Just not a lot of guys can do that. If you would fix the character limit, we would be able to communicate better. I can't fix the character limit. I don't know if I can set that. Just figure it out. All right, next at bat, 2 outs, nobody on base. Change up in the dirt, first pitch. Change up again. So they're pitching around him, right? 2 outs, nobody on, pitching around him. 2-0 pitch. Fastball in the outside corner, change up, or fastball outside corner, ball 3. And then they just intentionally walk him. 2 outs. Intentional walk. That's respect. All right, now he comes up next at bat. Runner on second base. 1 out. Drive him in. Fastball bottom of the zone. Pretty good pitch. Tries to bust him in. Really good pitch there. Gets it in on his hands. And you'll see that that's kind of UNC really tries to do when they throw him fastballs. They try to bust him in. And you got to miss in. Fastball off the plate. Slider up. Works it to 2-2. Good approach. Change up down and away. Now he's in a full count. The lefty on the mound, forget his name, was tough last year too. Yeah, really good freshman. UNC had 2 really good freshmen in the weekend rotation. Guys that could really pitch. And then just a little freshman thing there, just kind of way up and out of the zone, fastball, and he chases it. Got a righty on the mound now, ball in the dirt. Ball in the dirt again, or ball low again. That's the pitch I want him swinging at, man, right there, 2-0. Again, Dusty, you know this, but like in college, you can get away with taking pitches like this because you're probably going to get another one depending on the pitcher you're facing. But the higher you go, you get a pitch like that, you're not going to get another one. This 2-0 fastball right here, right down the middle. You got to pull the trigger on that. Fastball top of the zone. 3-1 count. And just misses out front underneath it. All right, another situation, runner on second. Ball in the dirt, off speed in the dirt. Bust him in. ties him up again. That's what UNC when they're throwing fastballs. If they're trying to go in. Inside again. And that's another. And see this to me in this series, he's taken a little bit too many. He's just being a little too passive at the plate. He's getting really good pitches to hit, and he's not pulling the trigger. So now instead of a 2-1 count, he's 2-2. Fastball down and in again. They're trying to hammer him in. Fastball down and in again for ball 4. So good at bat. He missed a really good, and he's your run producer in the lineup. So you'll take the walk, right? But that 2-1 pitch, you want to see him swing the bat there. No scoreboard here, so don't know the count. First pitch, though, right down the middle. Again, as a hitter, you don't want to be a first pitch hacker every at bat, but a guy like Drew Burress, if you're going to get a cookie like that first pitch, like take advantage of it. And so he falls behind 0-1. He didn't swing at the fastball, and now he gets of course, they go to the slider. Good pitch. Now he's down 0-2. Slider right at him. 1-2 count. Great pitch there. Starts a two-seamer. Little backdoor two-seam here. Starts it off the plate. You see it was coming like right towards the white of the other batter's box. And then it just great job by the catcher framing it, but he gets Burress. So he takes that first pitch and he basically kind of didn't get anything else the rest of it back. Kyle, speaking of Burress, obviously a great hitter, but where do you see holes and how would you pitch him? That's a good question, man. Because, watching a lot of video on him earlier today, doing my video that's going to come out on YouTube, it's like 30 minutes. The thing about Burress is he is one of those hitters that I do think he's your typical guy with power. You're afraid to go in on him, but you have to go inside corner and try to get him to chase it and try to tie him up. And then that allows you to really go after him off speed away. He's got really good plate coverage. He's got a really adjustable bat path. In the video I do on YouTube, we cover his 4 home run game. And he hit a fastball, inner half, bomb. Hanging breaking ball in a 2-1 count, bomb. Fastball up and away off the plate, bombed opposite field. And then change up in a 1-2 count, bomb. So he's not a hitter that has, a very big hole that you can see. He's not steep. He's not, he doesn't have a lot of vertical bat. So there's not, verticality-wise, there's not a lot to attack him on, as with most hitters. If you got a steep guy, you attack him down. If you're a guy that gets really, vertical, you attack him up. He doesn't have either of those flaws. So you have to establish yourself inside, which I think UNC does a great job. Like you've seen all those inside pitches. He's been tied up. He hadn't been able to do much with them. You tie him up inside, and that's going to give you leeway to go outer half with breaking balls, change ups. And then like the pitcher had struck him out looking there. Just a perfectly placed two-seamer that ran right back on the corner, or maybe a little bit off, but close enough for strike 3. Runner at second base, 1-0, fastball away. And this is that again, gets him out front of a slider, but Dusty, you'll know this. This is that play in pro ball. This is never a hit. Somehow the shortstop doesn't even glove this. But in pro ball, that's an out every time. Need to have premium velocity to go in for strikes. If you're 88-90, need to go inside only for show. Not safe in there if you're going to speed limit. Oh, for sure. If you're an ACC starter, you're probably in the low to mid 90s. Generally speaking, so you establish in, but you're right. The problem with going in is if you miss and you miss over the plate, you're cooked. Lower velocity, sure, go in on him, move his feet, establish that in off the plate pitch so that he can't just lean out and get extension on the outer part. But you got to pitch around him. You just can't feed him fastballs. If you don't have premium velocity, you got to throw changeups, you got to throw sliders for strikes, but like he's a guy that even in a fastball count, you hang a breaking ball to him, he'll hit it out for a homer. So he's just a very hard guy to pitch to. Slider top of the zone there, 2-1 count now. 3-1 count now. What's he gonna get? Slider in the dirt. So like they're pitching him they're not giving in to Burress. Like they're not. And guys, and when you're scouting an opposing team's hitters, there's always one or two guys that you're circling and saying like, this guy's not going to beat us. Typically, it's one guy, their best hitter. Situation like this with runner on second, I don't know if there's a runner on first or not, but you're just not going to let this guy beat you. You're going to take your chances, especially if there's 2 outs, 1 out, double play situation that can get you out of the inning. You're just not going to give a guy like Burress a chance to make an impactful, have an impactful swing. So they walk him. Now he comes up again, runners in scoring position. Looked like a downer slider or changeup, ball 1. Same thing, ball 2, right on right changeup. Another changeup that he chases, right? He knows he's getting it, chases it out of the zone. 2-1. Changeup 3-1 now. Just nothing but off speed, right? Runners in scoring position, not giving into him. Goes in the changeup, and I think this is a great pitch call coming up here. So he's seen 5 changeups in this at bat. Rule of thumb is you don't want to triple up typically, because if you make a mistake, the hitter's seen the pitch 3 times in a row, he ain't going to miss it. So what does Bryant Gaines, pitching coach for UNC, do here? Fastball attacks him, and you can tell by Burress's swing here, he's late. Thinks he's getting a changeup, all of a sudden sees fastball, he can't catch up to it. Who would be his pro ball comp? That's a great question. I mean, I do think like not just from size, but swing. His hands aren't as high, but he's got Altuve in there. Again, Burress is probably like 5'7", 5'8". He's not 5'9". He's a small guy, but he's a small guy with a lot of power. Really good hit tool. So like Altuve, who's hit for a lot of power, but also extremely high hit tool. I mean, Burress kind of comps to that type of hitter. As a position player, I do think with Burress, he's not a burner like a lot of guys think he is. Talking to scouts, he's pretty much an average runner home to first. He's like a 4.3 down the line, which when I saw him play last year, I was a little bit surprised because he would hit some ground balls in the holes, and I thought, oh, that's a hit, and he would get thrown out by step. He's not quite the runner. Definitely not a typical runner for center field. I think his routes are pretty good. He did have some bad routes defensively last year. I do think the question is going to be for him pro-wise, is he going to get moved to a center field or moved to a corner outfield spot? Because I just don't know defensively if he's... The thing is this, if you have a better defender in center, that guy's going to play center, to me. He's got a good enough arm to play right, definitely good enough arm to play left. So I think Burress, you can move him to the corner outfields. That may be where he ends up in pro ball. What you got on same profile as Mookie, different swing mechanics, but similar build and profile. Yeah, I just think Mookie's a better runner. Maybe a slightly a better arm than Burress has a strong arm. I think Mookie may have a slightly better arm. I think Mookie just overall a little bit more athletic. Certainly like height and size wise, yeah, that's a good comp. The swing is actually not as different as you would think. I mean, they get to that same angle back here, controlled forward move. Mookie doesn't start, with the bat down here, kind of Kevin Parada-esque. But I think that's a good comp as Mookie Betts. I just don't think I don't think he's not nearly the runner that Mookie is. But now this is the closer for UNC. First fastball, inside corner. Just going after him inside. Inside fastball again. Okay, so here's the thing. You've had a lot of success over a couple of games now. I think this is game 2 here, and this is the end of game 2. So you've had a lot of success going in. He hasn't been able to do anything with it. Well, watch this pitch and what he does with it. Inside, just misses it, right? He's on time, maybe a tick early, just misses underneath. As a pitching coach and a coach, this is the sign, okay, maybe we don't go back in there now. Let's show him something different. Let's go slider away, maybe fastball away. But we don't. He's ready now, and he's made that adjustment to the fastball in. He just misses that pitch. If you go in there again, he's kind of tuned up for it. So That's where you make the adjustment. That's why as a coach, when you're watching the game, the hitter will dictate to you, generally speaking, what pitches are working. And so far in the series, that inside fastball, he wasn't doing anything with it. But now that's the kind of swing that should be sending red flags and warning signs to you as a coach. So what do they do here? Fastball outside corner, misses a little bit back over the plate, but just freezes Burress. He probably thinks he's getting off speed or maybe getting busted in again here. Freezes it. All right, so game 3. Fastball outside corner from the lefty. Breaking ball 0-1, now it's 0-2. Change up down and away. Change up down and away. Just really good pitching there. Just keeping everything on the corner, off speed, mixing it up. That swing and that miss is a bad feeling as a pitcher. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's like the warning sign. Okay, don't go back in there because that was my best bolt inside corner, really top of the zone too. And he got right to it. Just missed it by a little bit. Heart stops when it leaves your hand. Yeah, 100%. All right, so second at bat. 1-0 first pitch off speed. Then he gets a hanging slider, makes the adjustment. And this is why Burress is tough to pitch to, right? You had a lot of success in the first at bat with off speed. You go back to a slider here, or maybe a hanging changeup, lines it into left field. Fastball down in it, down at the bottom of the zone. Slider, try to get back in the count, 1-1. Burress is just not a guy, if you don't have premium velocity, you're not doubling up on fastballs. You get away with one, you're going to off speed. You throw a strike with a fastball, you're going to off speed. So now he's in a 2-1 count. Seen mostly off speed so far. Another off speed pitch. Change up top of the zone, fouls it off. Change up down and away. So now here's the question. You got one out, nobody on, 3-2 count. What are you doing with Drew Burress? Are you challenging him? Change up, slider down in the dirt, walk him. So you're not giving in to Drew Burress, no matter the situation. I would like to check and see if Burress has reverse splits. Do you know? Seems like best bet is left-handed pitcher arm side and changeups. Yeah, that does seem like in this series in particular, it does seem. I will say, in his 4 home run game, lefty 2-seam top of the zone off the plate, he hits for a home run. But it does seem like if you're a lefty with a little bit of a low 3/4 arm slot and you got some run, your changeup's got some run and sink on it, like staying away from him is a pretty good idea. Okay, 0-0. First pitch off speed. And that's the end of this video. But this slow motion one gives you a great look at his swing, right? So what does he do well? All right, let's skip past this one. Okay. All right, so watch. When he loads back, he's not rocking backward like you see a lot of young hitters do. He's kind of coiling into that back hip, as you see here. So just a little bit of a negative move, not nearly as much as you see with a lot of hitters. Coils into that back hip, so he's ready to fire it. And you don't see a lot of movement with his hands. A lot of guys do these kind of, pumps with their hands and try to get something going. You don't see that a lot. I mean, he just kind of comes forward into his slot, gains a lot of ground, and just look how balanced he is. 50-50 position. Head is basically directly in between his 2 feet. Hips are already turning, leading the bat behind him. And if I can time this right, I mean, he gets on plane back here. See if I can get this. It's going to take a while. So you saw that, and we'll just keep looking at it. But the slow-mo, his bat gets on plane back here behind him. So he's back on plane here, and now it's just coming through the zone. And I mean, he's on plane till way out front. So he's got a lot of depth, he's got a lot of length, and he's got an adjustable attack angle. So he's not just a guy that's steep. He's not a guy that comes from underneath. I mean, he's very adjustable in his attack angle. which what makes him such an elite hitter. And then you combine that with he's got a great approach to the plate, knows how he's going to be pitched. It ultimately makes a hitter that's very tough to attack. There's no obvious holes in his swing. Every hitter is going to have pitches that he struggles with at different times in his career. But, like UNC had a lot of success this series pitching him in. So maybe that's the little bit of the hole. But for most hitters, that inside pitch that's truly on the inside corner, most hitters are not great at hitting that. That's why it's such an effective pitch. The issue is most guys, when they try to throw in, they miss over the plate, and then it gets crushed. But Burress was just ranked the #1 sophomore in college baseball, which rightfully so. I don't think there's anyone that would disagree with that. But January today, guys. So tomorrow we could have some news breaking for recruiting. The coaches, the schools are voting today on the extra games in the fall, the outside competition games, so 2 extra games in the fall. And they're also voting on being able to start official practice in January, 35 days before competition. So essentially that would be almost right when you get back from Christmas break. Because to me, it never really made sense that you had like a week or 2 of individuals when you get back from spring. Because, you basically, you need as much time to build up your arms. And like Pat Pinkman said in one of our streams a week or 2 ago, like your biggest concern as a pitching coach was, are my guys getting their work done? You're not even allowed to communicate with them, right? And coach them once fall practice is over. And so you're hoping that your pitchers are following the routines you gave them. They're getting their work done, but you're always, you got like 3 weeks to build up your starters to get ready for the season. So it just never really made sense to me why players weren't allowed to practice, or teams weren't allowed to practice basically right when they get back from Christmas break. They're voting on that today. So I'm guessing that's going to pass. It just makes too much sense from an arm care perspective and having your team ready to play perspective. I just don't know why you would be against that. And the 2 extra games in the fall, like I've told you guys, it's just going to give teams better opportunity to evaluate the guys in their team. Because like I said, in the fall, the one advantage players have, especially hitters, is you're facing the same starting pitcher 4 or 5 times. So that second and third time, you know what his stuff looks like. You know how he likes to pitch. You're ready for it. Well, in the season, until you become, second or third year in the league and you start facing the same guys. Oh, I faced that guy last year. I faced Rodon last year. I faced this guy last year. Know what his pitches look like. You don't have that advantage in the season, especially as a freshman. So every weekend, you're facing 3 new arms that you've never seen before, and you have to just kind of make the adjustment right away to what the stuff looks like, how it plays, what the action of his pitches are like. And I've told you guys, like with Rodon, I knew when I got to 2 strikes, his slider had so much late depth to it and break that I could not get out front at all. Like I had to just tell myself with 2 strikes, I'm not trying to even put a fastball in play. I'm trying to fight it off. And then I literally told myself to swing like from my chest to the outside corner like that. That was my swing thought, because I knew if I got anywhere out here, I had no chance on the slider. So I had to force my swing direction like straight down the left field line, and ended up getting a line drive single off one of his sliders with 2 strikes after fouling off a bunch of pitches, because I was just not going to get out front of his slider. If he wanted to try to bust me with a fastball, I'm going to fight it off. But that's the adjustments you have to make against certain pitchers based on their stuff. He's my pick for ACC Player of the Year. Yeah, not a bad pick, Zach. Not a bad pick. JUCO gets 20, 30 games in the fall. Yeah, JUCO, it's a lot better for development in JUCO because you're playing actual games. Again, that's not to say you're not getting developed at Division I level. I mean, you're playing inter squads, you're getting games in, but it's something about the games counting that's different. Guys, just all of a sudden guys show up differently, stuff like that. Maybe actually 15 to 20, but still they get a lot more game reps compared to D1. Yeah, they actually play outside competition, which again is going to be a little bit better development-wise because you're facing new pitchers, so you have to acclimate quickly. In D1, like I said, you're facing the same guys over and over again, but that's probably going to change with the vote today on the extra 2 games in the fall. It's still only 4 games, and I know there were some coaches that wanted it to be 8, which would have been pretty cool, especially for like fall baseball coverage. But 4, it will be, again, the more games, the better. So in the fall, you don't want to play a bunch because one of the things you're managing with Division One roster, you have a smaller roster than most JUCOs. So you don't want to blow out your arms too much, right? If they throw too much in the fall, maybe you're increasing injury risk, and then you may be losing a few of your arms that you wouldn't have. But I don't think 8 would be too much to ask for. My pick is Max Galvin. Great pick. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. Thanks for all the chats. Again, if you're looking for help in the recruiting process, scan that QR code right there. I know 5 of you guys have scanned it so far. Fill out the form. Myself or one of our advisors will meet with you and talk about next steps and kind of how we help facilitate you guys and guide you through the recruiting process. Thanks for all the support, guys. Stay tuned for that video posted later today. Deep, in-depth dive into Drew Burress and some game videos that I'm going to analyze. So let me know